Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Nordic Market News. We are recording in the studio of Direkt on behalf of Infront Finance. It is Friday the 13th and some superstitious people find this a day of bad luck, so be careful out there not to be walking under any ladders or looking at black cats. Moving forward, looking at the Nordic indices for the week, all markets except one moved forward and gained between 1 and 3.5%. Oslo, on the other hand, went down 1.1%. Looking at the year-to-date numbers, despite Oslo being the only negative mover this week, they are still leading the way with near 9% growth for the year, and Helsinki is very close behind at just over 7%. All other indices are still in negative numbers for the year so far. Looking at the most prominent news from the week, let's start from Monday. Nordic indices started the week higher. Danish shipping conglomerate MAERSK were among the winners on the Copenhagen market. Two of the MAERSK competitors, CMA CGM and Hapag-Lloyd, are discussing a merger, which is presumed to affect MAERSK positively. Swedish mid-cap pharmaceutical company BIOARCTIC continued its rally on Monday, marking more than a 300% gain since the positive news from their ALZHEIMER-STUDY from last Friday. Stock markets continued higher on Tuesday. Swedish game developer THQ Nordic acquired its German competitor HANDYGAMES for a €1 billion acquisition. The THQ stock rallied about 6% on the news. Reporting season has begun, and housing company Catena exceeded the market's expectations, gaining 5% after publishing their numbers for the quarter. We seem to have jinxed the ever-increasing price of crude oil. Since our show aired last week, we have seen it decline down to just below $74 per barrel of Brent. One reason being was that the U.S. Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, issued a statement on Wednesday discussing a lift of some of the Iran oil sanctions, which could flood the market, thus pushing the prices lower. As we have discussed in previous episodes, the Norwegian OBX is heavily reliant on the price of crude oil, and on Wednesday, the largest oil company on the Norwegian market, Equinor, dragged indices lower. Other markets also traded lower on Wednesday on renewed tensions between the US and China in the ongoing trade conflict. As a whole, Thursday was calmer for Nordic markets. There were some movements on the Swedish market where pharmaceutical company AstraZeneca led the advance. The stock gained more than 4% without any apparent news to support the gain. With just a few hours of trading left on Friday, Swedish housing giant JM gains 15% after a decent quarter on an otherwise distressed Swedish housing market. The biggest news of the day was that healthcare company Capio has received a buyout offer from French company Ramsay Générale. The mid-cap company has rallied more than 20% so far on the news. Friday the 13th has clearly not been bad luck for Capio. So, that's all for today. Have a great weekend and see you all again next Friday.